Alrighty, what's up everybody? The Network Berg here. Hope you guys have been doing well. Welcome back to another stream. This is stream episode, I think 17 now, maybe 18, I don't recall. But I figured tonight's stream, I actually just wanted to get back to something that is new to me, that I'm actually interested in, that I don't want to act like I'm a professional with routing and all that stuff, but I know it pretty well. But I want to do something that I'm not comfortable with, that I want to dip my toes in, that feels like unfamiliar territory. So this stream I'm actually going to dedicate more towards EVE-NG and setting up Ansible, and we are just going to import a Linux host on EVE. So you can do this on EVE-NG Community Edition as well. Ansible is actually baked in on the EVE Docker, but I'm not going to use the EVE Docker for that. I'm just going to act like I've got a Community Edition server. I'm going to add a new server or whatever, and then I'm just going to install Ansible on it, and we'll see how things go from there. And then hopefully we can run some playbooks and import some or let's say configure some routers through Ansible. So let's see if we can make that happen. First things first, I need to start a new lab for this. So let's just go into my Streamlabs, add a new lab. And let's call this Ansible for the stream. Is the stream okay? Because it seems like on the preview that it's not showing anything. So if you guys can hear me, or that just let me know that the stream is actually working, else I'm going to get freaked out. Ansible for the stream. So let's add this. And then I need to kind of also add a, let me check my OBS. Okay, OBS looks fine. I don't know why this preview is like lagging. Cool, thanks. Sorry, because usually I use the preview just to make sure that the stream is actually working. And if it's not working, then this would be a pretty failed stream then. All right, cool. So we've got a new lab. I need to import a load. But I haven't actually installed the Linux host yet. So we're going to do this kind of from scratch. I'm not going to use the Docker. I did download the image earlier. Let me just quickly find it. So this I downloaded from EVE's website. Let's just copy some stuff away here. And then in my downloads folder, I've got a Linux Ubuntu 21.04 desktop that we're going to just import into EVE. And let's follow along with the EVE like how-tos, because that's typically what I would do if I'm like doing something new. So EVE-NG, let's say how-tos. And let's just open up here. And we should have a Linux host option. So we can just Control F that quickly in the next. Not the Cisco IOL, there we go, create own Linux host. So EVE has like these pre-packaged Linux servers or desktops or whatever that you can install. Pretty cool, like you can just bring Kali Linux onto it, and then you can do some crazy stuff like the pen testing or hacking or whatever. But we're just going to run this as an Ubuntu desktop, but not the 1804, this is the 2104 version. They've got some mega share folder for that. So we've already downloaded the image. So all that we need to do now is use our WinSCP. And before I actually WinSCP on, let's just create a folder for this. So I just want to see where they've saved this, because they didn't actually create a new Linux folder. So they just throw this straight into Kemu, which is fine. So let's do that as well. I could do this through there, or I'll just start up a new putty session, because, you know, it's pretty good to just putty onto a machine. So 74.128. Let's log in as root and Eve. I'm just doing it this way so that I can actually copy stuff like this. Else, if I'm using that VMware player, can't copy the things really, so then it annoys me a little bit. So all that we want to do is cd to that directory so long, and then we'll also just copy that file onto the same directory. So let's use the WinSCP now. Do I still have it open? I swear I had it open, but oh, no, it is open. There we go. So let's WinACP onto 192.168.74.2 with the username root and password Eve. Oh, I'm not connecting to .2. I'm actually connecting to .128. Sorry, that's my other IP. So 74.128. There we go. Root Eve. All right, let's just quickly navigate to that folder. I also want to check actually how much space I've got on this Eve server. I might have to shut it down quickly after I just copy the image across. So we said we're copying this to OPT UnitLab Kemu, UnitLab add-ons Kemu. That should be it. And then all that we're going to do is copy this Linux Ubuntu file across. And now we just kind of need to wait for this to copy. It's not too big, it's like a 3 gig file. So copying this across WinSCP on the virtual adapter isn't going to take that long. I mean, it's connecting at a decent speed there. Nice. So do any of you guys work with any type of automation tools? Do you use stuff like Ansible or anything similar to it to try and automate anything on your own networks? Or do you also like do things manually like I still do? Sorry, I'm also just gonna have a bit of tea. All right. Copy is going good. 50% done. This is like the annoying bit, is just waiting for the copy to finish. All right, but once the copy is done, we're just going to extract it. Then we'll remove the old file, and then we'll fix our permissions, and then everything should just kind of be working, we hope. If it doesn't work, that'll suck, but it's okay. Okay, almost there. That's nice, Jack. I know that Ansible was actually like, I don't want to say it was brought out for servers, but it's very useful in the server infrastructure as well to try and automate stuff on there as well. But I'm not really much of a server guy, but you know, I know a thing or two about servers as well. But like, I would like to use this tool specifically now for network automation. I mean, you see people do stuff with Python, and that's also decent. I mean, I've fooled around with Python. It's pretty good, and I'll probably get back into that as well. But I think Ansible's pretty big right now. All right, let's see. Our image is copied across. Just before I continue, I just need to shut down Eve, unfortunately. So let's just disconnect from here. Yes, let's disconnect, and then I just want to shut down my Eve server quickly, and this will drop connectivity, which is expected, but I just want to confirm how big my drive is on the server before I continue, because we need to also give the Linux server effectively a oh wait, we're not even going to create a drive. This is actually fine. Like this is if you're creating your own like custom Linux host, sorry, which is fine. This is basically like loading an ISO, like a CD, into the virtual drive and then installing Linux from scratch. So we're not going to be doing that. We're actually just going to leverage this kind of like a Docker, which is fine. But let me check what my Eve size is anyways, because people tend to get curious about the specs for my Eve server from time to time. So as you see, I've got like 28 gigs assigned, 6 processors, not anything big, and a 100 gig drive. But this is running on my gaming machine, and it is running on my SSD. So that's why I'm a bit stingy with my hard disk space. It is on a 500 gig drive, so I might be able to assign some more stuff, but then, the trade-off is to uninstall a few other applications that I've got running on the drive. All right, so this looks fine. Let's just boot up Eve again, and then we'll continue with that setup. Let's just boot up Putty as well. No, man, Putty. I might just pin this again because I did unpin it by accident in the last stream. 192.168.74.128. Let's try and connect. Might not be up yet. Looks like it's up, but I might be having issues where I can't actually ping the Eve server. So let's just see 74.128. This happens sometimes, and then all that I'm going to do is just reset my virtual adapters. So I'm just going to disable them, re-enable them, and this tends to like tell Eve, hey, wake up. Let's just see the moment we can ping it, then we can actually just quickly get back on there and continue with the setup. There we go, we can ping it. Restart session. Root Eve. All right, so we're just going to cd back to that opt unitlad add-ons kemu. Then we can almost just do a copy paste. We're going to tar, and then we're going to give it that rights, and we're going to extract that Ubuntu file. So tar x, what's that, zvf, and then our Linux file. It should be on here. There we go. Alrighty. I'm just going to wait a bit because the extract might take a bit of time. And then we'll have a nice little Ubuntu desktop that we can play around on. We can install things on it. We can, use Ansible on it. So essentially, if I'm going to use Ansible, I'll probably also just install Visual Studio Code for it, because that seems to just be a nice text editor. And then we'll write some playbooks. I'm not sure if people are aware of what Ansible kind of does, but Ansible allows us to use, let's call it scripts that are called playbooks, and the playbooks run in a language called YAML. It's YAML or something. It stands for something like yet another machine language, something like that. And essentially Ansible works just like a script, but it's very readable. Like it's like looking at commands that you're putting on the script to say, here, do this, add these IPs, or add these VLANs, or do this in the routing, and it'll add those commands, and then Ansible will tell you if it's successful or if it didn't succeed, and there you go. And it's pretty cool. You can add stuff like variables, and you can change and tweak things. Last year I played a bit around some MikroTik Ansible scripting, not scripting, but like adding some stuff via Ansible to a MikroTik router. And that was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. It gave me kind of the idea of just like adding these custom playbooks that you could just quickly use for deployment for new routers, because then you could just quickly change a few details like the LAN IP and these details or whatever. So it's not like a MikroTik RSC script, because you then have the option of having a deployment server, the Ansible server, to push the configs to a router. So it's not like you have to have a MikroTik RSC script and then you just edit and upload it to the MikroTik and then run the script. You could then push config, which is pretty cool. And Ansible works as long as you can, I think, SSH onto a device at least, so it doesn't need some kind of special program installed in order to be run. It's just that's so freaking cool about it for me, is it connects over the port 22 and then it does its thing. So you just need to make sure that you're allowing that SSH connection, and that you probably also have an SSH key, because I know with MikroTik I had to get SSH keys, which we probably might have to do in this video as well. So we might run into some failures, so be prepared for that. A lot of this is going to be relearning for me, since the last time I played around on Ansible was either February or March 2020. So it's been a while. Let's just see what is happening here. All right, this looks like it finished. Let's jump back onto our Eve server. And this should be my lab for the Ansible for the stream. Nice. So let's just add a node. And here I've got a Linux node now. So this is Linux Ubuntu 21.04 desktop. Very nice. Let's just find an appropriate icon for it. Maybe something that looks a bit like a computer. There's a nice looking desktop. I'll give it 2 CPUs, 4 gig RAM. That should be fine. I'm not going to assign any additional Ethernets. And this looks good. Let's save this. Let's start this up. And let's just add a network for it as well to my management cloud. Let's just call this intranet. Oh, let's just change that icon as well to something a bit more appropriate, maybe a globe. And let's connect the internet to my Linux host. So let's quickly double click on this, or just click on it once. I should get a prompt actually to VNC onto the device, which it's not doing at the moment. Interesting. I might just have to close my browser quickly. Just do that. 192.168.74.128, admin Eve. That's a little bit annoying. Is anything complaining about anything? Let's just maybe stop the host. Let's just edit here. Let's just maybe see, do we... It should be VNC, but let me try and swap that to RDP. But it shouldn't connect with RDP. It should be a VNC connection. Username. And then we probably want to go back to that Eve message thing. So let's Eve ng how-tos. Let's find that Linux host again. There we go. So for the desktop, they were using Eve and Eve. So let's just try that. Eve and Eve. Login failed. Let's try that. Eve. Actually, let's try the VNC again. Man, this is actually not how I wanted this to go, because now we're like struggling with something silly like VNC. If I recall correctly, there was something we had to tweak here with the QEMU as well. Let's just properly maybe read that documentation. Oh, I didn't fix the permissions either, but I don't know if that would be an issue, where we can run that command anyways, just in case. For all our root Eve. We might even test like root and Eve, or root and test 1, 2, 3, because I've seen stuff like that. Why is this VNC not working? That's freaking frustrating. Let's try and set it for RDP again. All let's try this. Root Eve. Root. And wait, let's try user and test 1, 2, 3. I know I've used that before for an Eve desktop. User and test 1, 2, 3. Seems to have liked that. Let's quickly check. Can I full screen this? Doesn't quite look as good if I do that. I haven't worked on this version before. Interesting. Alright, let's quickly check our applications. I might just want to tweak some stuff quickly, especially stuff like the resolution. This I'll... I should be able to tweak it here to 1900. But that doesn't bother me too much. No, I'm not going to increase the scale. All right, wait. Besides this, what does this Eve client have? Now let's cancel that. It does have Firefox at least. So with that, if it opens, let's just first see, do we have internet actually? We seem to have internet. Do we want to do another meta thing where we let's go check if I can find my own channel. There we go. Relearning Ansible. Okay, that seems good. All right, nice. So we've got the Eve host up and running. And the next thing that we want to do is, let's just minimize that for a bit. We're actually going to install Ansible now. So let's go to Ansible, install, or we can just Google install Ansible, Ubuntu, and what version are we on? If I recall correctly, we were on version 21 point something. Let me just go into PuTTY here. 2104. 2104. All right, so we should just apt-get update and upgrade, which is pretty default. All right, we want to install some Python, and then we can do the Ansible bit. All right, I think we can do it just like this. So let's just first start the process of updating our stuff. Let's just jump back to Eve on the session. I'll just go to the console to achieve this. What's that? Well, test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Oof, there might be a few packages. Damn. Maybe I should have installed the server before the stream, but it would have been less follow along them, because I want people to be able to also just do the same thing, you know, install a Linux host on even Eve Community Edition, so you don't need to get the Docker to essentially follow with upgrade. So let's just upgrade our stuff. This shouldn't take too long. Unless it's really going to copy at that speed, then it's going to take a while. Software updater. We could have updated the software through that as well, I suppose. That might take a good 15 minutes. While that's happening, I've got, don't I have Firefox open still? No? Okay. Let's go into Firefox. And then from here, we might do something like install Visual Studio Code. Let's browse here. And I've got this on Ubuntu. So we're going to download a .debian file. Let's open it with the software install. So this should now also be downloading. And then while that downloads, let's just check here what's happening in the background. Yeah, it is actually, look, I've had like good speeds as well. It's I don't know if it's something with the Linux host, because if I'm testing from like a Cisco IOL image, then that runs a bit quicker than the speed. It might also be the type of NIC that I installed on Eve when I set up the host, but I'm not going to stop that now. So we'll just chat a bit, I guess, while this is happening. That is a possibility actually. So let's just refresh that. Yeah, thanks. I definitely click cancel. So that's a lot quicker than what's happening on my back end with the update. Like that's way faster. So we'll just install code, which again is just a text editor. It's just going to allow us to more neatly look at our code. Even though I'm really new, I'm not a programmer. I don't do automation often, so this is really a learning curve for me. So we're doing this together, guys. All right. Failed to install, file not supported. Okay, that was cool. Let me just go back to Firefox. I'm pretty sure I selected the right file. Wonder, should I select the 64-bit file or ARM? Or we could just do this, install Visual Studio Code 2104, and then let's just quickly Ubuntu desktop. And let's just read here. A few blogs. But that's going to be painful. Look at the ads. Just want to see the file type that we've got here. It is a .deb. So why doesn't it want to install? Quickly see if I can find where it has saved that file. Where can I find it though? Files probably. Nothing in here. Let's save the file maybe instead of just doing what we just did. So let me try that again. Just install it or download it. Save this. It is a deb, that's fine. And that should save that in the downloads folder now. possible. I mean, this is the instance from Eve itself. Like, I doubt it's 32-bit, but it's possible. Anything's possible. Okay. Wonder if I could just search through here. Also, let's just quickly check if we can get some details. See what information we can get about the system. It is a 64-bit OS type. Looks fine to me. Device name user 1. That doesn't matter. Like this is literally the only bit that matters. That's okay. Else, what I'll potentially do is just use Visual Studio Code that I've got on my actual computer. So we could do the text editing through Visual Studio Code here, and we could just copy the file across, like with WinSCP or something. So that's okay. It's not too much of an issue. But we will install code on the host. We should do that. I mean, that should be something we do. Let me just see how far our... hang on. Because we are already busy with that software updater. You can relax. But this is taking a little bit of time to just install or do the updates and upgrades. But I guess this is now the issue with a fresh install, isn't it? All right, so while that's installing, let's see if I can do potentially, I don't want to do anything with the power. I'm just going to close the RDP session there quickly. Let's just do an RDP full screen, but that should just force it into full screen mode. What was it? I think it was user 1 and test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Oh, come on. Where is that? User test 1, 2, 3. User test with a capital T 1, 2, 3. All right, that looks better. There we go. Let's just check our displays again. Now our resolution is better as well. Because now I can work on this like this is a Linux machine that we're working on. Crazy stuff. So while this is installing in the background, let's just quickly visit Ansible's website. So Ansible. Ansible is simple IT automation. Pretty cool headline. Let's maximize that quickly. I'm not too worried about the cookies. Try it for free. So this is the, I think this is the Ansible Red Hat server thingy that you get, which we're not going to do. We're literally just going to play around with Ansible as a, like, we're not using Ansible Tower. I think this is actually the thing that you're getting the trial for, which it looks pretty cool. I mean, it gives you a cool dashboard. It tells you what's happening on the network. Or not the network. I mean, this is just for Ansible. So how many scripts are being run, if any of them failed, all that type of stuff. I'm actually more interested in Ansible, not tutorial, not a working, it's not called plugins, it's, well, let's look at the playbook. But I wanted to go to docs.ansible, that's it. All right, so inventory is basically just an inventory file that we get called Ansible hosts, where we can specify specific groups of either servers or network device, any device really, just as long as the Ansible server can connect to it. So here we give us a nice little example. So they're using some host names there. Anything with the brackets is basically a group that you define. So think of that as a variable called web servers and a variable called DB servers. So that is going to be everything. What's nice is you can specify specific hosts, you can specify stuff like IPs. There's so many ways that you can go about it. I'm looking for something specific for Ansible. It's modules that I'm looking for. So Ansible MikroTik module. So Ansible is going to make a very, I'm going to say, dumb connection to MikroTik, because it's almost just going to, you'll see if I use the example, if we actually get on here. Is this the right place where I am? This doesn't look exactly where I want to be. Here's some SSH keys. Using CLR, no, that's not really what I'm looking for. Basically, this is what a task will look like. This is what we will put in our playbook. Think of this as the script that will run, that we tell Ansible what to tell to the router or the router to do. So we can give it a name, and then we can do something with the commands. And then here we're specifying a command. So you're actually, Ansible will kind of type /system resources print, and then in this example it will just kind of like print that stuff, and I think it will save it somewhere. But I'm not too interested in this. What I essentially want to do is I'm going to try and, at least before we end the stream, try and configure some VLANs on a CHR. Like that's going to be my goal for tonight. That's if we can get everything working. So I'm not going to say that's the only thing that we can do, because my time is a bit limited, because I do have some cutovers. Well, not cutovers, more like upgrades for some firmware on some infrastructure at 10:30 my time, which is in the next, let's say, a bit less than 2 hours. So we've got a little bit of time to get this figured out and working. All right. Cool, let's just quickly minimize this Firefox window again. And let's quickly see what's happening in the background. It's so close, but it's so far. I am not happy with that slow speed. It's like being back in 2005 when in our country it was like a big thing to have a let's say a 512 kb ADSL line. Like that was the big thing in my time then. I'm not sure what connectivity the rest of the world was using 2005, but if you had an ADSL line back in the day and it was 512 kb, you were like one of the very privileged people. All the kids would go to your house and probably try and download some songs and other gaming things. So that's just how it was. And I wasn't one of those lucky kids, though. I actually was using a dial-up connection back in the day. What was it, like a 56 KB modem? And man, those were some interesting times. I mean, couldn't download anything really. It took like, I remember me and my brother maybe like downloading some, like a song or something, and we're waiting like 30 minutes for this 3 meg file to come through. Crazy times. And now it's a click of, I mean, I'm streaming like gigs of data to you guys, and I'm also playing stuff in the background, listening to music, and it wasn't really that possible to do it back in the day. I mean, we've got it so good now. At least when it comes to network connectivity. Ah, you didn't know what internet was. Were you big on sports? Or was that a bit before your time as well? Because I keep forgetting I'm also getting older. I mean, I'm not that old. I'm like, what, early 30s now? But still, it feels like just the other day that you know that you were like being silly with your friends in high school or whatever. And now it's like decades later, but it doesn't even feel that way. Like, time flies, seriously, guys. Ah, that's okay. Yeah, sorry, man. I mean, but to be honest, even though I had access to internet, it's not like I was playing World of Warcraft online with friends or anything. It was literally just being able to browse web pages, and I think the biggest thing that me and my brother got through the internet was maybe a SNES emulator to play some old Game Boy games and stuff. And other than that, we just hanged around in chat rooms, you know, like there was a few chat sites, but it was fun. I mean, it was good. Damn, guys, this feels so silly just waiting for this update to finish. But it's okay, this is part of the process. And we want to make sure we have a host that works properly, so that when we install the other stuff, they just work as well. When we install Ansible, it should just work. Let's just go into this file as well. Well, blog. So all that we're gonna do is this install Python, install the repository, and then actually install Ansible. And the reason this person is using Nano is because Nano is a basic text editor. It really doesn't do much. It's as standard as can be. It just allows you to go into a text file and start adding stuff through the command line. You could use stuff like Vim as well, but Nano works just fine. And that's why I want to use Visual Studio Code, because it's just open it up and start adding whatever you want, and it looks like this. It's nothing special. As you can see, like here's it's empty. I haven't done anything. I installed this, I think last week somewhere, to try and get back into automation, but I just didn't get any further. Let me just change the music because this is too monotone right now. Let's just make it something a bit more upbeat. And let's get back to the server and look at what else is happening on Ansible. Oh, so many ads. That's one thing I dislike on blogs, but even on my own blog, Like if you let Google automatically place ads, it's just everywhere. And it looks like this. Ping pong. Let's see here. Go back to the RDP session. 87%, we're almost there. Yeah, I can install AdBlock. I can install AdBlock, but to an extent, AdBlock is also not really free. So you're still kind of paying it for it to an extent with your own personal information in some way. So I don't know. I guess the only reason why I don't run AdBlock is maybe because I understand how these ads work and what they mean for the people that actually create the content. Because let's say I'm a content creator, I put stuff on a blog post, and I mean, you're doing research, you're showing people how to effectively do the stuff. I'm reading somebody's blog now to install Ansible, and they're getting like very little amounts of money for me to just scroll past and, you know, see this as an ad. So if the ad is getting blocked, they're not getting like paid. So I don't want to make it like a money thing, but like it's literally a few cents like that somebody gets maybe per day for a website like this. Like tech isn't big at all. Like even my blog gets like very minimal views. That's probably why I stopped posting on it, because there's like again, money is not an incentive, but you're kind of doing this to try and you know, add something like value. I'm happy you understand this well. Like and this is why people put ads on their sites. It's not because they want to annoy you. It's ads that I really find like I want to say villainous almost is these let's say it's clickbait sites. You'll be browsing Facebook, and then you'll come upon a stuff like tattoos you won't believe these people get, and then you open like the thing, and then it's like one page just full of ads with one picture with a little bit of text, but it's like filled with ads, and then there's a next button to go to the next page, and it's just the same process. Like it's 20 pages of just ads, and those are the money making sites. Like the like they promote those ads, like, or those blog posts on Facebook with money so that they get more visitors, and like it's very clickbaity, and people go there and they share it with their friends, and that's how those people make money. And that's why sites start to look like this. Like you'll go on a site and this is all you'll see. You don't even see what people are trying to put on it anymore. All right, this is almost complete, guys. Are you ready? Yeah, but I mean, I always use AdBlock. It's just since I started creating content, I just like do that. I just don't get the 85 Linux firmware, but it is definitely 64 bits. Let's just look at some settings again before the setup's finished, because I might just want to reboot the host as well. Let's just look at our about. All right, that looks pretty normal. Oh, I should have clicked that. Because this is almost done here. Well, it's done downloading. Now it's unpacking everything. All right, let's quickly see what happens. once the setup is finished. And let's look at some more router OS examples. Let's just go here. So what is that, version 4? Or is 2.9 the latest version? I'm pretty sure. I'm just trying to find the network automation, network getting started. That seems like a good spot for us to get started. Getting started, basic concepts, control node, manage nodes, inventory, collection modules. That I want to see. Look at the collection index. All right, this looks pretty good. So these are the modules that we can use for Ansible to push commands. Which you can see there's actually a wide variety of systems that we can use Ansible on. I mean, there's even Splunk, Fortinet. I can promise you Cisco's on here as well. Duh. Lots of Cisco stuff here. Azure. How do you guys say it? Do you say Azure or do you say Azure? Because in my country, we kind of, well, I say Azure, but it's because we pronounce the Z's a bit different. But I know in America, they say Azure, which sounds cool, actually. Juniper, where's the MikroTik? It should be in here somewhere. It might be called Router OS. There we go. Community.routeros. All right, let's quickly check what's happening here. There's the command. Can I refresh that? Ooh. Right, I can't tab to that for some reason. Here's a nice amount of commands that they're running. So remember, this is just a task that we're running in the playbook, and they're just doing identity print. Igor, we should thank Igor for his contribution, because this is nice of him to do. Let me just quickly minimize this Firefox again. All right, we're done with that. Next step. Okay, we're not doing the code setup. We're just going to go back. I swear I had a tab for the Ansible installation open here somewhere, but that's fine. Install Ansible on Windows. Interesting. Ubuntu. Or we actually just call it Ubuntu. All right. Let's just quickly go here. We should just be able to check for installing Ansible on Ubuntu. All right. There's the repository. I don't see that we are installing Python here, but that's fine. Let's just follow along with our little guide here. Test 1, 2, 3. All right, and let's just add the repository. This shouldn't take too long. And Ansible is not like massively big unless you're using like the tower. Something doesn't look right here for me, but that's fine. Okay, wait, no, this is good. Let's just try and sudo apt install. Yes, let's install Ansible. All right, so that is installing Python for us as well. So things are going a bit better. Now we are actually installing Ansible. Once Ansible is installed, I might just want to restart the host, boot it back up, and try and get Visual Studio Code working as well, because I want to use code and I don't really want to like alt tab to my actual machine. All right. This really shouldn't take too long. And we can just go back to our Ansible thingy. So that's the installation. I want to go back to, not the community. Actually, let's back. All right, basic concepts. Okay, so this is the network getting started. Let's go next. I might just want to open the user guide in another tab if possible. For some reason, I can't open a new tab. It's pretty annoying. Okay. Getting started. A quick video, a text introduction. I'm ready to learn Ansible. What Ansible concepts? So these are things that really I strongly advise you guys go onto Ansible's docs or go onto the site and read through it. Watch the intro video. Read the intro text. Like learn what a playbook is and what YAML is, how the inventory works, and from there we can start like playing around with the stuff. All right, let's just see how far our Ansible setup is. A few seconds away apparently. Ooh, I want to just update that time. Date is correct. Time is, I'm pretty sure, the US. Let's look at our settings. Date and time, that seems like a good place for it. Can I set this? Unlock. Okay, even the unlock is like it's probably because the user account. I might try and find a way to just make this a root account, but it's fine. All right, Ansible's busy installing. Let's see what's happening here. Ansible help. Actually, let's do a read here. Oh, there we go. Version. Ansible version 2.10.5. All right. Python version 3.9.5. Okay, that looks good. So we are using Python version 3, and it is Ansible 2.10. So it's not like Ansible 4 or whatever. Okay. All right. So let's just quickly cd. I just want to check, where is it? Is it in the OPT Ansible, or is it just in Ansible? It might be under my user. No, it's not there. Just quickly check through this file explorer, because this might be more relatable to me. Let's go to our... Right, there's nothing in the desktop. Other locations, computer. Might be in my etc. Is there a search that I can use from here? Is it in my bin maybe? Actually, let's just go back and just search your Ansible. Okay. User share doc. That doesn't seem 100% right. No, it's not that. Yeah, we could type that as well. Let's try that. Where is Ansible? Wow, that is right. Let's just cd to that. Cd usr bin Ansible. Bin. What? No, I don't use smoke ping. I've never used it. I'll have a look what it is, but I don't know what that is. Alright, hang on. Let's just quickly reboot the system, because I wanted to do that anyways. So we could do this, restart. Just minimize that. Else, I'll just do this. Reboot -h now. Sudo reboot -h now. Test 1, 2, 3. So while that's happening, because this I'm familiar with, etc/Ansible, and then you've got your hosts. All right, let's wait for this host to come back up. All right, so this was, hang on, let's just close that. RDP full screen. User test 1, 2, 3. All right, let's just check here. Ansible. Ansible -I. Just want to see if I can check for an inventory. No. All right, let's just try that. cd etc ansible hosts. Okay, let's just create that directory anyways. We're going to use that to create a inventory file, and we'll just store it in that directory. And I'm hoping Ansible will be fine with that. So what problem? System program. So let's just do a make dir etc ansible hosts. Takes 23. I think I tried that in the very beginning, but let's see, Ansible, and then it's complaining that it's not a directory. Because I know in my previous Ansible installation that once I installed Ansible, I could cd to that etc Ansible directory. But right now, Ansible's not quite how I remember it. But it is installed, it is here. And here we just see some plugin module. There's the Python module location, but that's just for the Python. That shouldn't have bin Ansible. But I shouldn't have to run the stuff from the bin. Let's quickly check if I do a search maybe for, well, let's not search today. I'll use the file thingy again. And let's just search for hosts, because there should be a hosts file, which is essentially just our inventory file. Else, let's just go back to Ansible's Ansible docs Ansible. Okay, let's see what is happening here. I would just kind of like to get back to the, let's just go here. This should actually just, okay, I'm not really interested in all of the spam. Ansible modules. Just Google like that. We are using the latest version. That's what I'm thinking as well, Johan. So let's just follow along. We didn't do any of the pips. We did the Ubuntu installation. We updated, we did all of this cool stuff. And that was it. So Ansible should have been installed. No, it's not anything with yum. Let's look at confirming your installation. Configuring Ansible. Certain settings in Ansible are adjustable via configuration file, ansible.cfg. The stock configuration should be sufficient for most users, but may be the reason why you want to change them. Password configuration is in the reference documentation. So I recall the file should be present in the etc Ansible. It feels like I've messed something up with the Ansible installation, to be honest, because it should be in like etc Ansible. Sudo app install Ansible. It's already installed. Let's try and find the ansible.cfg file, because that should be where all of the host files and stuff like that is configured. So it is just called ansible.cfg. Let's try that. We can try that as well. So find / name Ansible. Let's see. User share doc Ansible. Let's change directory to that. User share doc Ansible. Let's just see what we find here. Some readme, a copyright file, but I don't see the actual like Ansible stuff. I don't see the ansible.cfg. Let's just start that. Actually, I'm just going to cancel that. Ansible.cfg. I wonder if this doesn't have anything to do with this, like this Eve client that I'm running. Well, we could include the wildcard, but I know that I want to find the .cfg file. But let's search for anything Ansible. Let's see what it returns. But I feel like we definitely made a mistake, or it's not like gonna work on this Linux host, but it should work. I'm pretty confident I've installed it on one of these Eve Linux hosts before. Let's just quickly read through here. No, but this is now just the Ansible. This is what the CFG file looks like. So this is the file we wanted to find. But we're not going to change anything in the CFG. Maybe one or two things, but for the most part, the CFG we will leave blank. We just want to add a host file, add some inventory to it, and then maybe add a MikroTik to that other node and see if it can get to the Ansible server. That's also true, Ivan or Ivan. Let's add another. I'm just going to add a node for a MikroTik router so long. Put it on 648. And I'm just going to connect that onto the same management cloud, just so that the MikroTik should be able to see the Ansible server so long, so that I know that that node will be able to communicate when we actually sort out the Ansible bit. All right. While the MikroTik boots up, let's just see what IP address it gets. Thanks for the tip. That password is blank actually. Let's just close that, reopen it. Admin blank, no. IP address print. So I've got 74.133. I think I need to install Wine as well. I might have to install Wine for the MikroTik to actually access it from this Linux host. Can I do it from here? Sudo apt install Wine. Hello. And then while that installs, let's just open up another terminal. Okay, that's definitely not what it's found something there, but it's just strange for me because I'm expecting to see an ansible.cfg file, and I kind of expected the directory under etc to be installed because it kind of just does that by baseline. Like you can put your inventory file anywhere you want. It's just, I'm not sure why I'm not seeing the config file for Ansible anywhere, but the system picks it up. It sees that it's there, so. Ooh, I shouldn't have clicked anything there. And wine is going to take a little time to install as well. Let's just see, while I'm here, can I ping that MikroTik? 192.168.74.133. Okay, so that's good. At least I can get to that MikroTik. Should be able to telnet to it as well. 168.74.133, but we're not too interested in telnet. We're more interested in SSH. Admin at. Yes. Nice. Alright, so we can get to that MikroTik. It's literally just a case of getting the Ansible and the Visual Studio Code working. I'm not gonna wait 2 hours though. I do have other work in the next hour and 15 minutes. And I'm really hoping to get this working before, because we could use this as a baseline for all the future labs with Ansible as well. Even if I have to reinstall from scratch, I'm probably not the whole server, just like uninstall Ansible and reinstall it. Spec current values. No, I literally just followed this guide to install Ansible. Well, not in it. Like, I did the updates and upgrades. I didn't install this dependency for Python, but that shouldn't be relevant. I did add the repository, and I just did a sudo apt install Ansible. Like, this was it. And this is kind of like how I expected everything to go. I didn't actually follow this guide. I followed the instructions on Ansible's documentation for Ubuntu. So let's go to our user. It's not the user guide. Installation guide, and then from the installation, for specific operating systems. So I did follow these steps for Ubuntu. Update this. I really don't think I got any update or error while installing. And this is what is strange to me, is that Ansible is giving me like a version and stuff back. And like if like it is installed. But let's create like a host file. Let's maybe just, but I need to also specify some stuff. Damn it, man. All right, hang on. while that's happening, I still want to also sort out connectivity, or not connectivity. I want to install another app for Visual Studio Code. Just in our downloads, can I run this file now, or just gonna give me the not supported issue? All right. No, man, come on. Open with software install. Because I need to run this as an administrator. I should be able to just sudo this, shouldn't I? Yeah, thanks, Yuan. I'll figure it out eventually. Let's quickly just try and sudo install this. Sudo apt install code. Visual Studio Code. No, it's not that. Let's go into Firefox. Install Visual Studio Code, Ubuntu 2104. But I've got the deb file. What is this file location? CD home user downloads. Okay, so that's just user one downloads. Deb test 1 2 3. Install. I'm sure we should be able to install code. No, man, can I stop doing that? Sudo apt install code. Visual Studio Code. Oh man. Sudo apt install video studio code. Can I change this? how am I going to change the... Let's just change the permission for the Eve client. So let's just go here, change user permission. Okay. Linux permissions. We're just going to change the, well, I'm hoping we can just change our user's permission on this Eve station to something, to the equivalent of root, so we don't need to like sudo stuff the whole time. And that will also be something we need to do when we're actually working with Visual Studio Code anyways. Else we need to do some strange stuff through the command line the whole time. Thanks, Mozilla. Let's try your command instead of me scouring the internet. Let's go back to our server. Let's try this. All right, it didn't like that. Let's try that. And while that happens in the background, did it actually install now or not? I don't see anything there. Well, I do see it here though. So let's just bring it up. Wow, you did it, Mozilla. Masehula. I'm hoping I'm getting your name better now. All right, this looks good. This is perfect. So thank you, you sorted it out. All right, so we can change this to just a different theme. This is just for color. And now we should be able to, the issue is I kind of still want to change my permissions just so that we can actually save files and stuff with Ansible whenever we create anything. Next section. I just want to check our plugins. Can I see them from here or not? I might have skipped something with the initial getting started bit. Open your code. No, I'm not interested in this. I think it probably already has that, but I know in Windows you kind of needed to specify plugins for stuff like YAML and Python and whatnot. That looks trippy. If I save this as, let's just try and put this, I don't know, let's maybe create a new folder here, or maybe let's just save stuff here. Let's call this playbook. No, I'm not searching. I want to save this as playbook 1 book playbook 1.yaml. All right. So that is our YAML file, playbook 1, and that's in our documents file or documents folder. Let's just minimize this bit. Close that. I just want to check. I was busy here with something. Okay, Ubuntu was unhappy with something here, but that's fine. All right, so let's quickly see Ansible. I mean, I can check the version until I'm blue, but what we really want to do is add a host file. And the host file I'll probably just add at the same location. So let's cd. Do I have a documents? What is this? .ansible. All right, no, that's not what I want. cd documents. So in here we've got a playbook1.yaml. So let's also just nano. I don't need to nano, but let's just call this hosts. So let's just go to Ansible and look at the host file quickly. So Ansible user guide. We can look at the introduction text as well. Inventory and how we can track them. So this is just the basic inventory where we are specifying some details. So what I'm going to do is let's create a new group called MikroTik routers or something. And then we should just be able to specify the IP address there of that MikroTik router as well. So I'm just going to call this routers. And then we should have something like 192.168.74.133, I think was the IP. Let's see if I can. Okay, 33. And now I've messed something else up. So I should be able to, no, 133. All right, I'm not comfortable with nano at all. I think it was Control O to save. All right, looks good. No, Control X. Control, let's just close that. CD. Documents. Let's just cat the hosts. And then inside hosts, we have a group called routers with that one router's IP address. Okay. Now what I want to figure out is how are we going to actually get this working, since I don't have a Ansible config file. Right, it's just some more stuff with how we can use the inventory in the groups. So what I'm interested in is network getting started. Okay, so inventory we've done, playbook. And then we need a module for router OS quickly. Let's just control F that, router OS. And we can run commands. And the commands are pretty straightforward. It's just name, run command on remote devices, community.routeros.command, and then command what we want it to do. But this we will now just put in our YAML file. But within the file, we should be able to specify our hosts as well. So this is just a task. This is like what the playbook will be doing. And what we could tell this is we could give it a name of create VLAN 100. And then what we could do is system. We're not going to do system because this is now exactly just like adding commands from the command line. So we'll just do interface VLAN add interface equals ether2 VLAN dash ID equals 100, name equals VLAN 100. So that's the command we wanted to run on YAML. And here we should be able to specify the hosts at the very top. I just want to find another example. Man, I wish I saved my old stuff, but I couldn't because my computer crashed and I bought a new PC. All right. So let's see here. There's nothing specifically that I'm like interested that I see here. IP routes print. Nice. Okay. So here is more of the actual Ansible playbook configuration. So I think this is actually just signifying that this is a playbook, the 3 stripes or dashes. And then this first dash is like our first thingy that we're gonna do. Let's just copy this across. Bring this into Visual Studio Code so it makes more sense. And then this tasks, I'm pretty sure, there we go, that looks better. Apologies, I just quickly need to check here. Alright, so basically what this playbook now is telling us, this is now a name for the playbook or like the thing. Hosts is basically just the group that it will connect to in that host file that I created earlier. And that was routers with a capital. So I can just specify that here. So that's kind of the group that we're going to be doing things to. And this should be our tasks. Now the question is, okay, let me try and save this. If I close that and I cat our playbook, all right, I can see that the text that it's returning there. All right, so what I want to do is just jump back to the Ansible thingies. And let's see, besides the inventory, we've got tasks and our playbooks. right, that was the initial tasks. Hang on, let me just close some tabs here. Right, so we've already gone through our inventory, collections and modules, our tasks, and playbooks. All right, but the basic concepts is like just one general window. Let's just next this. These are things that I want to specify in the ansible.config file, which I currently do not have. I mean, it's great that I can see that I've got the Ansible version. Let's try and maybe run an Ansible like the ping thing, just to see if it can actually ping the host. So let's just go back to the RDP session. Let's just do Ansible help. Or let's just do a -h. Well, it's all the stuff that we can see here. Let's just Google here, Ansible test ping playbook. Okay. Let's try this. Ansible routers -m ping. Yeah, that doesn't look good at all. This is so annoying. Because I know for a fact it's not any of these. Sudo apt Ansible. But it's already installed. I might just uninstall it quickly. Uninstall. Let's try it. apt remove Ansible. Oh, I need to sudo this. All right. We'll It's a version. It's still picking that up. Let's try and install Ansible or sudo apt install Ansible. Ansible. Just want to see if I can pick up any of the directories through here. Because all that we've got now is just a Linux host that should be able to see. Oh, I installed Wine earlier as well, didn't I? I don't recall if that finished though. I guess I could check. It doesn't find it. I was pretty sure I installed it. Sudo apt install wine. Test 1, 2, 3. Maybe those were the errors that I saw earlier. Could not establish locked front end. Okay, that's fine. But it's probably this other installation that we're running. But this will be our pet project for the next foreseeable few streams. Even if we don't actually do the Ansible like full configuration tonight, it's definitely going to be continued on the next stream. Because I feel like this is something that we should be getting comfortable with and we should be learning. All right, so we're getting some errors here. I'm just not sure if it is because of this Eve server. Well, this host that I'm running. 2.10 fetched. etc Ansible. Oh, that's still not there. Let's just create the directory. I think I actually tried to create it earlier. Make their etc Ansible. cd etc Ansible. It's going to be empty. Let's find that other config file if I can. But that shouldn't be how we fix this. This is purely an installation issue now. Let's just go back to the installation guide quickly, confirming your installation. And go next. Here's an example file of the configuration. Let's just grab this. And then what I could do is nano ansible.cfg. Let's just sudo this nano, paste this across, try and save that now, exit. Now I've got an Ansible CFG file. No inventories were parsed. The installation is a bit scuffed, I think. There's something missing. And I think it has to do, I'm almost pretty sure this host had Ansible on it as well. But almost like as a Docker. Let's try and install with pip, because this seems to also be a article that I've got online. We might just quickly delete Ansible again though. So let's go back to our host. Okay, cd, let's just do a sudo pip and install yes Ansible sudo apt install pip. Alright, but now we're going to wait to install pip as well. This is not how I wanted this installation to go. But that's the thing about streaming or live streaming. You're just working in the moment and just doing things as they come. Alright, but once pip is installed, then I'm going to try and use that to actually uninstall and reinstall Ansible. And then hopefully I'll get those directories that I'm looking for. All right, so that's on 21%. Let's just go through some more Ansible stuff. Go next. Right, we're not porting anything. Lots of information though. I'm writing my very first playbook. What should I know before I begin? Tips and tricks. These tips and tricks to help optimize your Ansible usage. We offer them here as suggestions. We do help you organize content, write playbooks, maintain inventory, and execute Ansible. Whenever you can, do things simply. Use advanced features only when necessary. Always name task, always mention state. Learn about them all. All right, let's go back and see how far the pip install is. 62%. We're getting there. Okay. Let's go next. com. All right. Interesting. That's definitely a not bad suggestion. I could definitely see us doing that if we actually create a custom Linux image for Eve, where we literally find the iOS and we install it from scratch. So we're not using like this pre-configured Eve Docker type of thing. We're actually having a Linux VM on the EVM, which we can run, and we'll have all the permissions from the very beginning. We'd be running it as root instead of this user account with its own like permissions and things. I just think it should be easy with this Eve Linux image that you just import, because it's so straightforward. I mean, you just download it, you upload it into Kemu, you unzip it, and there you go. You've got a Linux image that you can work with. And I mean, it works fine. As you can see, it's doing its stuff. It's just not doing what I want it to do. All right, let's just try and do a sudo pip. Let's do an install Ansible. All right, so it's already sees that it's got the packages. Let's just change to this directory quickly. CD. That's not what I wanted. Close. CD. Oh, that's ugly. Copy. CD. User. There's going to be a bunch of files in here. Is there anything for the... There's Ansible. Cat Ansible. CD Ansible. There's an inventory. There's a playbook directory. This looks more like what I was looking for. But this was this wasn't installed by our installer. Like, these things were here before. Let me just cd to our inventory. Let's check that out. Cd inventory. Here we've got a host, but it's host.python file that we've got in there. Man, there's a big difference to what I was expecting. Python 3 dist packages, Ansible. LA. Do we have the config file in here though? Let's just cd to config. Is there an ansible.cfg in here or not? No? I don't see anything there. try that. Can I use a find here? Find name .cfg. But there's a lot of that. Ansible. Ansible collections. Man, these are Docker containers. Because here we've got like multiple Ansible.cfg files. So let's cd to these Ansible collections. Cd user lib Python 3. This packages Ansible _ collections. InfiniBox. How much time do we have? About 26 minutes. I think what I would like us to do is actually just to install a Linux host from scratch and not make use of this Eve Docker container. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did install Ansible on this before, but like I said, that was back in 2020. And things definitely are not happening the way that I'm expecting them to happen, especially when I run the installation and I'm not getting the directories that I'm expecting, because it makes like following a tutorial even on Ansible's site or following the documentation even difficult, because it doesn't correspond with what I necessarily have in front of me now. So what a wild stream. All right, so effectively what I've basically shown you is how to import that Eve host. Let me quickly just shut down this hippopotamus, power it off, and then what I'm gonna do is see if we can find a Ubuntu 21.04 image. Download Ubuntu 21.04 ISO. Let's see what we can get. All right, let's install the desktop image. And let's see, this is 2.6 gig. When you start downloading it, it shouldn't impact the stream too much. Because this should just be a download file that we're running. Let's just see there. So I'm just going to leave this to run for a bit. I'm still going to install this through Eve, I think, because since I'm using VMware Player as the free edition, I can't run multiple VMs at the same time. So this is going to have to just be a single VM that I'll mount onto Eve, and it'll literally be this whole guide that we follow. Create your own custom Linux host for Eve, where we're just going to create a directory. We're going to bring that image in. We're going to rename the distro to cd-rom.iso. and then from Eve CLI, go to created image directory, create a hard disk, and create a new lab with a node, connect your home internet cloud, start the node, install Linux, customize as you want. The install will be a normal Linux installation. So this I have done before as well. So this should be fine. And then it would act as a no, it's not a GNS3 thing. I'm gonna be direct. This is due to me wanting to be, I don't want to say lazy, but wanting to use these pre-made custom images. There's nothing wrong with the image works fine, but it's kind of like it's kind of like a Docker type of thing, and it's everything's like pre-confed on it, and I don't have root access. I'm using like these user connections. But oh, is it? Let me I think I want to, can I limit this? Damn, I should be able to get onto something. I don't want to use a Docker container though. What I want to use is basically a straight host. I want it to act as a Linux host. I'm actually just going to cancel the download because I don't want the stream to be like laggy and unpleasant. But I'll definitely get the image downloaded before the next stream, and then we'll kind of install it from there. Though what I would like to do is before I do the next stream, I want to also just import the image, install it, and see that it does what I'm expecting it to do, so that it doesn't feel like, I'm not going to say we wasted time, guys, because we definitely learned something, but my goal again was to actually have Ansible working, and I wanted to push some VLANs like that. That was the goal, and I definitely can't see us hitting that goal tonight. All right, so yeah, if I'm not gonna download the image and install it now, then I actually think we are going to call the stream now, and then I'm going to prepare for my upgrades that we have in 20 minutes. So that'll give me some time to just quickly spend a few minutes with my fiance and baby. And yeah, then we'll definitely continue the next stream with a fresh actual host that we are the root administrators of. And then we can install Ansible step by step. So yeah, I'm going to call the stream. Thanks for watching. I wish it was a better stream because it does feel like not the type of stream that I want to like give to you guys, but nothing's like ever perfect, and it is good for us to have issues, like struggle, because then we can see we all make mistakes. If you want to follow along with the next stream, then my advice would just be to download the same Ubuntu image that I'm going to download. So it is this Ubuntu 21.04, this Hirsute Hippo, and it will be the desktop image. I want this to be a desktop image so that we can install Visual Studio Code and work through that on Eve, so that it'll look the same as like with the setup we just had. It's just we will be the root admins, and it won't be a Docker thing. It will be an actual Linux desktop from scratch. So if you want to follow step by step, get this. I'll copy this into the chat. Hopefully it allows me to. But that's straight from Ubuntu or Ubuntu's like servers. So you can just get that, and yeah, you can follow within the, and you should be able to install this on GNS3 if you're using GNS3 as well. Like it's not going to be exactly the same process, but I'd prefer doing it on Eve, to be honest, because then you are actually following along with me. Before I actually cut off the stream completely, there is something that I do want to show you guys. Hang on, let me just get to another tab. But this isn't related to Ansible now. This is more or less the MikroTik course stuff that I've been working on in the background as well. So it's not to like show off or anything, because I'm actually quite nervous about the course that I want to like make available. And I'm thinking about just putting this on something like Udemy, you know, because they sell their courses cheap. It's like $10, and then you get all of the info. But I want to make sure the course is like packed. I want to make sure it is like a proper course that is instructor led by me, with video stuff, like showing you how to do everything and explaining everything in detail. But besides explaining the stuff in detail, and I think I've said it in a previous stream, I want to make the course in such a manner that you're also labbing it on like Eve, or it's pretty hard to do something like wireless with Eve. So that the wireless section I'm going to cover with actual MikroTiks. But I have been working on this, and I'm nearly done with the third chapter, which is the routing part, which, I mean, that's the fun stuff for me, is routing. But since it's just the MTCNA, there's not really that much involved with the routing. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of like an update that watch the stream, or that actually watch the videos afterwards, that I'm still working on the course. It's not like it's left in the dust somewhere. I'm hoping that I can get the whole thing done somewhere before middle July, because that is kind of my time frame. Because besides making this like book material, like the actual, because I'm like writing all this stuff myself, it's not like I'm copy pasting it anywhere. You'll be getting like this whole, the book, the videos, the Eve labs, and the Eve labs will be set up in such a way that you import the images, and the configuration will already be pre-configured. So it will pull the config, and it will be exactly the same lab that I have. It's not like you need to, you can follow along in that way if you want to, but there will be like pre-configured labs that you can go into, and it's already got the scenario, and then you just need to add configuration on top of it to just help people with those fundamentals. Because I feel like this type of training isn't really available. And if I look at sites like Udemy, I'll see various trainers, and they're decent trainers, but a lot of them tend to try and squeeze as much from students. So they'll give out a course, but it's like a fraction of something. They'll say, here's how OSPF works, and they'll make a 3-hour course on OSPF, just OSPF, and then that's what they do. Or here's a course on VRRP. This is how VRRP works, which I've posted for free on YouTube. And then they're like, I don't know why that annoys me. I feel like if you are going to offer training, make it one big bundle. If it's the MTCNA, here's the whole MTCNA. Here's how everything works. Hopefully then people get a good grasp if they follow along with the Eve stuff that I'm giving to them. And yeah, that's all that I wanted to say. Anyways, guys, oh, Boshan, sorry, I haven't been reading any of the questions. I'm not currently busy as a like MikroTik trainer. So this training would be on the unofficial side. I mean, I'll reach out to MikroTik, but guys, things are dangerous right now, especially with, you know, the global pandemic. I've known people who's passed from it. I've I've heard of people that I've known that also got it and get like pretty sick. So for me, like being a new father and such, considering, unless they let me like do some type of let's say unless they test me and tell me that I can be a trainer like remotely, then I'm not going to fly to Latvia to like attend a MikroTik training course. It's just too much of a risk for me, and it's really not financially viable. But I do think that a lot of my knowledge on router OS is at least on par to that of a few other trainers. I do feel like I can give a lot of benefit to people wanting to learn router OS. I don't think I don't think I must have the trainer certificate in order to like give you guys training, if you understand what I mean. And yeah, remote should be a thing for MikroTik especially, because even before the pandemic, the training was like you go into an instructor-led class. It feels really weird, man. You just sit there, you're doing whatever material with the trainer, and then after the course is complete, you'll do like a test, an exam, an open book test with like everybody else in the class. It's really weird for me. Like I don't get me wrong, I love open book type of tests because that more applies to the real world. Because if you have issues in the real world, you can like figure it out and fix it. Whereas let's say if you're doing a Cisco exam, on the exam they might try and do stuff like trick questions. Have you ever seen a router try and trick you when it's not learning a route properly? Because I haven't. So I hate trick questions. If you're going to ask me about questions, it should be about things that are relevant to the material, like how it actually works. Don't put trick questions in an exam. But that's the nice thing about Cisco and Juniper and those people at least. Well, I don't know about Juniper, but Cisco I know for a few places. I don't know if it's still ongoing, but you could write the exams online and it's totally fine. Yeah, Jack, you will need to redo it. I think this year would be your last year. Yes, it is valid only for 3 years. I also did my MTCNA and MTCRE in 2019. So yeah, I need to rewrite my MTCNA and MTCRE next year, and then the year after that I need to rewrite my MTCINE as well. But rewriting is not so much of an issue. I mean, rewriting I feel is definitely a lot easier. I've seen people not having to like do the whole course from scratch. If you know your stuff, you could potentially approach a trainer and they could arrange for you to just redo the exam, you know. But it's always good to go for the training and just get a refresher on the stuff, because you're still going to pay the same price. I promise you. You're not going to get like a discount or anything. Anyways, guys, I'm like just chatting now and not really doing anything else. So I want to thank you guys again for watching. I am going to call it now. I need to prep for my other work. Hopefully that goes smoothly, because I hate updating firmware on stuff like firewalls, because I've seen firewalls just like get bricked because of a firmware upgrade, and I hate doing it, but it needs to happen anyways. But thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next stream, and then we will install the Linux host from scratch. We won't be using like some pre-configured image. So hope you guys have a great evening. Yeah, and we'll chat more, guys. Like we should actually chat. We should have a community. We should talk to each other, engage, and you know, like give me ideas as well. Tell me the things that you want to see. Tell me the things you like, and you know, we will make things work. But thanks for the chat as well, and have a good evening. Good night.